Hello everyone, my name is Bhaskar Gupta. I'm working as a senior technical product manager at VMware, and today I'm going to talk about what's new with VMware Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager 1.6. We'll discuss its features followed by a quick demo. So these are some of the features which are introduced with 1.6. First, improved user experience, role-based access control, NSX ALB integration, backup and restore, and finally API extensibilities. We'll start with improved user experience and see how the new UI will look like. So this is how the new UI will look like. Upon login, you will be presented with the screen. First page remains the same, but the deployment and the import is changed here. I'll show a quick deployment. So if you see, everything is in one page now. Earlier it was in a different page. So I'm trying to use this existing JSON for the deployment. We'll provide the admin passwords and details. So what you see on the left hand side are the ones which I have provided all the details properly, and the ones which are incomplete or incorrect details will show up over here as incomplete. So you can see everything can be visible in one page itself, and accordingly you can provide the ones which are having any missing details. So don't you think so? This is quite convenient and user friendly for you. We have also made some enhancements in the integration part with NSX ALB. The next feature is integration with the NSX ALB. This is newly added. When you are deploying VMware Cloud Director or usage meter, you can integrate with an existing NSX ALB. NSX ALB has to be registered as a data center component earlier to be visible here. It has to be deployed and registered. And now when you're deploying these products, you can integrate that. So once you have deployed, you can see the products which are already integrated. And this can be done through UI. And like earlier version as well, you can go to the summary and see the details here of the input parameters which are provided, cross check, and accordingly you can just validate and deploy. So the steps are pretty much the same. It is just the representation which has been changed. So next I'm going to show you the tags. So the tags have been introduced with these versions, and this is very helpful when you're trying to sort the products or you want to manage accordingly. So if you see, we can have multiple tags for the product as I'm showing here, and I've added VCD Dev 1 and as well as VCD India as the two tags for the VCD products, and the same you can do for the other products as well. And once I've added the tags, all I can do is I can search based on the tags and it will show up here. Similarly for the other tags as well, it will show up the products which are tagged accordingly. Rather than the tags, you can also view the product details by the type. If you want to use, you can sort based on the alphabetical order. Now day 2 operations remains the same. As you can see, we haven't changed anything except for the fact that we have included maintenance mode for the cells, which I'm going to show you right now. So let's look at the other deployment which has multiple cells. So let's look at this one. So if we go to manage nodes, we can just select on the node 1 or any other nodes, and we can put it in maintenance mode. And if you are doing any maintenance activity, you can just use this feature from the UI itself. Now the import operation remains the same. So I'll just quickly show you. And if you see here, we have got everything in one page itself. We can even add the tags while importing or deploying. We'll provide the cluster, resource pool, and data store details, and provide the key components which are needed for importing a product. For example, endpoint address, root passwords, and admin passwords, and the database passwords, not to forget that. So we'll click on the advanced. We can see the details which can be visible. I provide them. Go to the summary to view what all input parameters have been passed and verify that. And finally, we can just click on register to start the registration process. For this demo, I'll not be showing that, rather the infrastructure components what we have got here. So it's still the same when you can view, edit, and the day 2 operations, or I would say the manage, edit, delete operation are the same here. You can even have tags for the components which have registered. And task is something, it's still the same. We can view the tasks, we can see the task logs and download the request payload as well. Administration is something which we have added. We can see that the interrupt bundles notification is the newly added feature. We can enable and disable the notification. We can enable the cron jobs, send the notifications and the thresholds, and finally configure. Email notification configuration is available through GUI, which was only available through API earlier. Next, we have backup and restore. So we can back up the VCP LSM appliance, and it is a password protected. You provide the passwords download the backup file, and it will be downloaded as a zip file, and you can use the same to restore. Provide the password and you can restore the appliance. So this feature will not back up the product binaries, but it will back up the configuration, the imported products, or the deploy product configuration, even the log files as well. However, the backup is only compatible with the same version. From product binaries, here you can see the binaries which are already existing in your CPLCM repo, and you can verify from here as well through the UI. Next, we have the role-based access management. So you can add an Active Directory instance from here or delete, as I'm showing here. You can even modify an existing instance. So test the connection from here, provide the username, password, click validate, and you're good to go. Now we'll have a look at the users. We can add a user from here as well and modify an existing imported user. We can modify the role. However, we can't modify the system user. As you can see, VCP LCM is a super user. We can change the password though from the UI itself. We can add a new user. Just select the authentication instance name, search base, username. Here we'll provide the username, click validate, provide the role, and we can just click on add user. It will show up over there. Similarly, we can add a group, provide the group name and the role as well. So these are some of the user functions. Now coming back to the roles, these are some of the roles and the permissions which are predefined. However, you can add a new role and provide the permissions accordingly, or you can modify the newly created role. For example, here I'm creating a new role, adding the permissions here. You can just click on add role, it will show up over here, and we can modify that role. However, we have to keep in mind that the users and groups have to be existent. The VCP LCM can only import the users and groups but cannot create a new one. So for this demo, we'll be using one of the existing users, and that's VCP LCM admin. We'll modify the role and we'll give that user least privileges. We'll give them audit privileges. So we'll select the role name audit, click on modify user. We'll log out from being VCP LCM super user and log in using the same user over here, which we have recently modified the role. Now let's see what permissions does it have. Now we can see here the user has least privileges. He can't even perform any administrative jobs. You can't even add users or permissions and so on. And as it has got least permissions, which we have already defined for that role. So that's all about the new features which we have included with VMware Cloud Provider Lifecycle Manager. We have also enhanced the API to the version 4, and the new Postman collection is also available. Please feel free to look at the documentation for more details, and thank you for watching this video.